The text came in at 11:47 p.m. I was in a hotel suite in Seattle, reviewing numbers for a merger that could double my company's valuation by Q3. Rain tapped against the window. My laptop screen reflected a tired version of me. Then my phone buzzed. It was from Mark, my neighbor. We weren't close. Just polite waves across trimmed hedges. Occasional small talk about trash pickup schedules. His message was short. Is she your wife? My stomach tightened instantly. Before I could respond, another notification appeared. Video attached. For a moment, I just stared at the screen. There are seconds in life that stretch longer than they should. This was one of them. My wife, Emily, had told me she was staying in that night. Said she felt a cold coming on. Said she would order soup and go to bed early. I tapped the video. Grainy footage. Night vision. Timestamp in the corner. Mark's driveway camera. Our house directly across the street. At 9:32 p.m., headlights pulled into my driveway. Not my car. Not any car I recognized. A man stepped out first. Tall. Confident. Familiar in a way that made my pulse spike. Then the passenger door opened. Emily stepped out. Not in pajamas. Not sick. She was laughing. She walked around the car and touched his arm like it belonged there. My face drained of color. The camera angle didn't show everything clearly, but it showed enough. The way she looked up at him. The way he leaned close to whisper something that made her smile. They didn't look like strangers. They didn't look like neighbors. They looked comfortable. I paused the video. My reflection in the black screen looked older than it had 10 minutes ago. Mark sent another message. Saw this twice this week. Thought you should know. Twice. I rewound the footage. At 9:35 p.m., the two of them walked toward my front door. Emily unlocked it. He didn't hesitate before stepping inside. The door closed behind them. Timestamp ticking forward. 9:36 p.m. 9:37 p.m. The porch light switched off. I checked the duration of the clip. It ended at 11:12 p.m. No one had come out yet. I tried calling Emily. Straight to voicemail. I texted her. No response. The rain outside my hotel window grew heavier. And in that moment, thousands of miles from home, one question began tearing through my mind. If that man wasn't supposed to be there, why did he have my wife's key? I watched the video again. And again. Every second felt sharper the third time through. The way she stepped out of the car. The way he closed the distance between them without hesitation. This was not awkward. Not new. This was practiced. At 9:41 p.m., the camera caught a flicker of movement through the living room blinds. A shadow passing close. Two figures. One taller. My chest felt tight. I checked the timestamp on my last call with Emily earlier that evening. 8:17 p.m. She had sounded tired. Congested. Said she might take NyQuil and sleep early. Her voice had been soft. Calm. Normal. I dialed her again. Voicemail. I texted something simple. Are you home? 3 dots never appeared. Mark sent another message. You want the clip from Tuesday too? Tuesday. My mind raced backward. Tuesday I had flown out early. Emily said she had dinner with her sister. I typed back yes. Another video came through. Different night. Same car. Same man. This time, the camera caught his face more clearly as he stepped under the porch light. Recognition hit like cold water. I knew him. Jason. Our contractor. The guy we hired 3 months ago to remodel the kitchen. He had spent weeks in my house. Measuring cabinets. Discussing finishes. Laughing at Emily's jokes while I was on calls in my home office. I had trusted him with access. He had asked for a temporary key to manage deliveries. Emily said it was practical. I never thought twice. In the Tuesday footage, they didn't even try to hide it. She opened the door before he reached it. He walked in like he belonged there. The timestamp showed he left at 1:18 a.m. My stomach dropped. I checked my flight records. Tuesday night, I had sent her a photo from the airport lounge at 10:02 p.m. She replied with a heart emoji. I stood up from the hotel desk and paced the room. Something didn't add up. If this had been happening for weeks, why send the video now? Why tonight? As if on cue, Mark sent one more message. He is there again. Right now? I looked at the time. 11:58 p.m. The first video had ended at 11:12. That meant Jason was still inside my house. With my wife. And I was 2,000 miles away. That was when my phone buzzed again. But this time, it wasn't Mark. The name on my screen made my pulse spike. Emily. For half a second I just stared at it. After 2 hours of silence, she was suddenly calling me at midnight. I answered immediately. Her voice sounded breathless. Not sick. Not tired. Alert. She asked why I had called so many times. Said she had taken medicine and fallen asleep. The lie landed smoothly. Too smoothly. I stepped toward the window, staring at the rain sliding down the glass. I told her I just wanted to check in. That something felt off. A pause. Then she asked what I meant. I asked if anyone had stopped by tonight. Silence. Not confusion. Not surprise. Calculation. She said no. Just her. Alone. Watching a show until she got sleepy. My throat felt dry. Across the country, my neighbor's driveway camera was recording a man currently inside my house. I asked again, carefully, was she sure no one had been there? She laughed softly, asked if I was paranoid from too much work. That word cut deeper than it should have. Paranoid. I told her I might fly back early. The meetings could wait. Another pause. Longer this time. She said that was unnecessary, that I should focus on closing the deal, that everything at home was fine. Fine. Behind her voice, I listened closely. There was movement. A faint sound. Not the television. Not traffic. A floorboard. Then something else. A low murmur. Male. Distant but unmistakable. She shifted the phone quickly. Her tone changed, sharper now, asking if I could hold for a second because the connection was breaking. Breaking. The call didn't drop. She ended it. I stood there staring at my screen. Seconds later, Mark's message came through. He just left. Video attached. I opened it with shaking hands. 12:07 a.m. Jason walking out of my front door, adjusting his jacket. He looked relaxed. Not rushed. He walked to his car, headlights flashing as he unlocked it. Before getting in, he glanced toward the street. Toward Mark's house. Toward the camera. And for a split second, he smirked. Not nervous. Not afraid. Confident. My phone buzzed again. Emily. This time her voice was calmer. She said she had dropped her phone earlier, and that might explain the missed calls. Asked if everything was okay. I said yes. I said I loved her. She replied instantly. Love you too. The line went quiet. But one question wouldn't stop echoing in my mind. If she thought I knew nothing, why did Jason look like he knew something I didn't? I didn't sleep. At 2:13 a.m., I booked the earliest flight home. Not because I planned to storm into my house. Not because I wanted a confrontation fueled by emotion. I needed clarity. There was something about Jason's smirk that didn't fit a simple affair. It wasn't just arrogance. It was assurance. Like he wasn't worried about getting caught. That meant one of two things. Either he believed Emily would cover flawlessly, or he believed I wouldn't act. I opened my email and searched for the renovation contract. 3 months ago, I had skimmed it quickly between meetings. Standard terms. Payment schedule. Access permissions. Access permissions. The temporary key agreement had an end date. 2 weeks after final inspection. Final inspection was 6 weeks ago. I checked our smart lock app. The access log loaded slowly. Entry at 9:34 p.m. Front door unlocked manually. No code used. Meaning a physical key. I scrolled further. Tuesday, 8:51 p.m. manual unlock. Last Thursday, 10:12 p.m. manual unlock. There were more entries than Mark had even mentioned. This wasn't spontaneous. This was routine. My chest tightened again, but beneath the anger something colder began forming. Strategy. If I confronted them now, they would deny. Deflect. Turn it into suspicion and insecurity. I needed proof that couldn't be explained away. At 3:02 a.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, a text followed. We need to talk. No name. No introduction. But I knew. Jason. He must have realized something. Maybe Emily told him about my calls. Maybe Mark's camera angle caught something he didn't like. Or maybe that smirk wasn't confidence. Maybe it was a warning. Another message came in. I know you saw something. My stomach dropped. How would he know that? Mark hadn't mentioned contacting anyone else. The camera faced my house, not his. There was no reason for Jason to assume I'd been sent footage. Unless someone told him. I stared at the text thread. Then my phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't a message. It was a screenshot. A photo of my own living room. Taken from inside my house. Timestamped tonight. And in the corner of that photo, I saw something I had never noticed before. A small black lens. Pointed directly at the couch. The message under the image was short. You are not the only one watching. The image felt heavier than the videos. This wasn't driveway footage. This wasn't a neighbor looking out for me. This was inside my house. I zoomed in on the photo Jason had sent. The angle was from near the bookshelf by the fireplace. Slightly elevated. Clean line of sight to the couch, the hallway, even part of the kitchen. The black lens was small, subtle, blended into a smoke detector casing. I opened the smart home app again. We didn't own indoor cameras. At least not that I knew of. My breathing slowed, not from calm, but from something sharper settling in. If there was one camera, there could be more. Jason sent another message. Before you overreact, you should understand the full picture. I didn't respond. He followed up immediately. Call me before you make a mistake. A mistake. I replayed the timeline in my head. The contractor who needed a key. The weeks of unsupervised access. The subtle comments he made about security upgrades during renovations. How he had insisted on rewiring parts of the ceiling near the living room. I had signed off on everything. My phone vibrated again. This time it was Emily. She asked if I had landed safely. I hadn't told her I booked a flight. That meant one thing. Jason had. I answered calmly. Told her I decided to come home early. Meetings wrapped faster than expected. Silence on the line. Then she said that was great. She missed me. Her tone was steady. Too steady. I asked casually if Jason had stopped by tonight for anything work-related. A pause. Then she said no. Flat. Certain. The lie was cleaner this time. Practiced. I ended the call and checked my airline app. Boarding in 2 hours. Jason's messages continued. You are focusing on the wrong problem. You should be asking why I was there. My jaw tightened. There was only one obvious answer. But something in his wording felt deliberate. Calculated. As if he wanted me thinking in a specific direction. Another photo came through. Different angle of my living room. Same night. Emily standing near the couch. Alone. Looking directly toward the hidden camera. Not surprised. Not alarmed. Aware. The timestamp showed this was taken before Jason arrived. My pulse pounded. If she knew about the camera, then this wasn't something he installed secretly. This was something they set up together. And if they were recording inside my home, what exactly were they planning to capture? The boarding announcement echoed through the terminal, but I barely heard it. My mind wasn't on the flight. It was on the camera. If this had been an affair, it would have stayed reckless and hidden. Late nights. Careless lies. Emotional betrayal. But hidden cameras inside my own living room? That was preparation. For what? I replayed Jason's last message. You are focusing on the wrong problem. That wasn't a taunt. It was leverage. I opened my company dashboard on my laptop. The merger deal I was in Seattle for involved proprietary logistics software. Intellectual property valued in the millions. We had already faced one attempted breach last year. Nothing proven. Just suspicious activity. Jason had spent weeks inside my home office while remodeling the kitchen. Close enough to overhear calls. Close enough to see screens. Close enough to know things. My stomach turned. What if this was never about Emily? Or at least not only about her? Another message from Jason appeared. You travel a lot. She gets lonely. People make choices. The wording was deliberate. Emotional bait. But then he added one more line. Especially when there is opportunity. Opportunity. My flight began boarding. I walked toward the gate slowly, adrenaline sharpening every thought. If there were cameras in the living room, were there others? My office? Bedroom? Guest room? What conversations had been recorded? What documents had been visible in the background? What passwords had I typed while thinking I was alone? My phone buzzed again. This time it was a short video clip. Indoor footage. No sound. The angle from the hidden camera. Emily sitting on the couch. Jason standing nearby. He wasn't touching her. He was pointing at my home office door. Then at the camera. Then at her. And she nodded. My face went cold. This wasn't romance. This was coordination. The video cut off abruptly. A final text followed. You should ask her what she agreed to. I stepped onto the plane with a clarity I didn't expect. If this was about betrayal, I could handle that. If this was about my marriage collapsing, I would survive it. But if someone had used my own home to gather leverage against me, then this wasn't personal anymore. It was strategic, and I had just become the target. The flight felt longer than it was. 5 hours in the air with nothing but recycled oxygen and worst-case scenarios looping through my head. When we landed in Chicago, I didn't text Emily. I didn't call. If she knew I was coming, I wanted to see how she reacted without preparation. The drive from O'Hare felt mechanical. Streetlights streaked across the windshield. My neighborhood appeared exactly as I had left it. Quiet. Ordered. Safe. Safe was an illusion. I parked 2 houses down instead of in my driveway. Mark's porch light was on. As I stepped out of the car, his front door opened slightly. He gave me a look that said he understood the gravity of what he had sent. He walked over quietly. He told me the car had been there 3 times this week. Always late. Always leaving after midnight. He also told me something else. Jason had started parking differently the last 2 nights. Further from the camera's direct view. Adjusting. Like he suspected surveillance. That meant my neighbor's footage had made him cautious. Which meant he feared exposure. I asked Mark if he had noticed anything unusual inside the house. Lights on at odd hours. Delivery vans. Unknown visitors. He hesitated. Then he said there had been a tech van parked outside 2 weeks ago. No company branding. Stayed for about an hour. Emily told him it was a Wi-Fi upgrade. My jaw tightened. I never scheduled a Wi-Fi upgrade. I thanked Mark and walked toward my house slowly. The porch light was on. Through the front window, I could see the glow of the television. She was awake. I unlocked the door quietly and stepped inside. The house smelled normal. Lavender candle. Clean air. Nothing out of place. Emily was sitting on the couch. Alone. She looked up, surprise flickering across her face before she replaced it with a smile. She stood and walked toward me, arms open, asking why I hadn't told her I was landing tonight. Her expression was controlled. Measured. Not guilty. Not nervous. Prepared. I hugged her briefly. Then I looked around the living room. The smoke detector above the bookshelf. Exactly where it had been in the photo. I stepped back slightly and asked a simple question. When did we install indoor cameras? Her smile faltered for half a second. Just enough. She said we didn't have any. And in that exact moment, a small red light blinked behind the vent casing. Recording. The red light blinked again. Not bright. Not obvious. But undeniable. Emily followed my gaze upward. For a fraction of a second, her composure cracked. Then she recovered and said it must be a sensor from the security system. We never installed indoor sensors. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. Instead, I walked calmly to the bookshelf, grabbed a chair, and stepped onto it. She told me to get down. Too late. I twisted the smoke detector casing gently. It came off too easily. Inside was not a sensor. It was a compact wireless camera with a micro SD slot and a transmitter wired into the ceiling power line. Professional installation. Not a random device. I stepped down slowly, holding it in my hand. The room felt smaller now. Emily's breathing had changed. Faster. I asked her one question. What did you agree to? Silence. Then her shoulders dropped. She said it wasn't what I thought. That Jason approached her weeks ago about an investment opportunity. That he claimed to have access to insider details about my merger deal. That if certain information leaked early, market positions could be taken. Quick profits. No trace back to us. Us. She said she didn't understand how serious it was at first. That he convinced her it was harmless. Just observing my calls. Not interfering. Just observing. My own living room turned into a surveillance room. I asked how many cameras. She hesitated. 3. Living room. Office hallway. Bedroom smoke detector. My stomach went cold. She said Jason handled everything. Said he had tech contacts. Said the footage was uploaded remotely. She never saw it herself. Then she admitted the part that mattered most. He promised her a payout once the merger went public. A payout large enough to start over. Start over. Without me. That was the first honest crack in her voice. I pulled out my phone and dialed my attorney. Not the police. Not Jason. My attorney. Because this wasn't just betrayal. It was corporate espionage. And the footage Jason thought gave him leverage was now evidence of conspiracy. Emily started crying, saying she never meant for it to spiral. That Jason pressured her. That she felt invisible when I traveled. Maybe that was true. But invisibility doesn't justify sabotage. As I stood there holding the camera that had been watching my life, one thing became clear. Jason thought he was playing a smart game. He forgot one detail. The merger hadn't closed yet, meaning no confidential breach had been finalized, which meant the only crime fully documented was theirs. I looked at Emily one last time and told her something simple. You were never lonely. You were greedy. And by morning, Jason would realize something else. He wasn't the hunter. He was the evidence. Subscribe to this channel if you like this soulful revenge story. Also tell me where are you watching this story from. See you in the next one.